implicated in the looting at Eskom. The publication says details of how the former Eskom boss allegedly facilitated the looting of millions of rands from the Kusile power plant construction project have been exposed in reports presented to the SIU. This by a multinational engineering company that scored a 2.2 billion rand contract with the utility. The company is one of 11 international engineering giants being investigated by the SIU for their role in looting about 139 billion rand to build power stations. So today on Political View, we speak to Matshela Koko. She's here in the studio. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Lots of questions, very little time, but I want to let's start with the Sunday Times article. What is your response to that?
I think the Sunday Times article is very unfortunate, and good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. It's nonsensical, does not make sense, and those people who understand how Eskom works will understand that they've been thrown a dummy. I would have appreciated that ABB not go beyond just making a submission to the SIU, but go to the Zondo Commission as well. I think we've been very, very fortunate as a country to have
Which part are we being sold a dummy? I just want to get straight to that. Is it your role and whether or not you're in a position to influence contracts? Is it the fact that a company co-owned by your daughter-in-law benefited from it? Is it the fact that you were allegedly in conversation with one of the employees there and you undertook to ensure that they get more contracts just as long as your daughter-in-law's company is included? Which part are we being sold a dummy?
South Africans have been sold a dummy that Matshela Koko had conflict of interest at Eskom involving a company that belongs to his daughter. That matter was settled at my disciplinary hearing and at the Labour Court. The Labour Court and the disciplinary hearing have pronounced on that. There was no such conflict of interest. Mr. Koko was charged and was vindicated. That's in the judgment of the Labour Court. We cannot recycle it again. It's done, it's banned.
Are you categorically saying that you at no point at any time influenced any contract scored from Eskom?
Well, my answer is in twofold. First, I'm inviting you to go and listen to what the judgment says. It's not saying what is being said. But secondly, yes, I have not.
Okay, let's take a listen to something.
I received a phone call from Mr. Koko asking me that I must please engage the Majuba power station to accept this product. I then engaged Guy Senior at the time, Mr. Ngube, and I asked him, what must I do? This is now instruction that I must perform outside the mandate of the contract, and he encouraged me to engage the power station.
That has to do with Tegeta. You spoke about the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. In fact, you've also rubbished it in the past. I'll go back to the previous question that I asked. In general, are you saying you have never at any point influenced any contracts by Eskom for Eskom?
I have never done that at all. I would never do that. It's wrong, it's illegal, it's unlawful. I will not do that.
You never called Mr. Opperman?
I may have called him, but I can assure you, I've never had a discussion.
What was the subject of your conversation in this case with Mr. Opperman?
You're talking about 2015.
Okay, let's make it simple. He says it was about poor quality of coal, which he raised.
I'm saying it was not, but I want to take you a step further. It was not. Let me take you a step further. Between 2015, 2016, 2017, the plant breakdowns relating to quality of coal improved, and Eskom had a better performance. If the versions of Opperman is correct, then we will see the breakdowns due to coal quality increasing. If they haven't, in fact, the plant performance due to the quality of coal has gone for the better. So evidence and what's been said don't match.
Okay, and I know we are hopping around here, but I still want to go back to the issue of the ABB contact. So I want to understand that you're denying any email exchanges between yourselves and Eskom, other senior Eskom executives about the financials and integrity reports of a particular contractor that ABB was vying for.
I can assure you now there are no such emails. And I can assure you now that you have not seen such emails. I can assure you now that the Hawks or SIU have no such emails.
So you also deny that at any point you spoke to Sunil Vip, you had a relationship with Sunil Vip, that you planned to secure kickbacks for Impulse International together through any dealings that ABB would have had?
Never done that.
You never had any conversations with ABB on email about whether or not Impulse International has had...
I put it to you this. Let me put it to you.
But can you answer that question?
The emails that you're referring to, you'll never find them. They don't exist. I've never done that. I can assure you now, we will, even in time immemorial, you will sit and ask, but where are those emails? Because there's no such thing.
Pragasan Praitha, what is your relationship with him?
I have no relationship with him. I know him. He's a business partner to my daughter. I have no relationship with him.
When was your daughter a co-owner of Impulse International?
2015.
Now, this is the same 2015 that ABB suggests that at your appointment as the head of generation, then they started having meetings, ABB, with Impulse International, and where discussions were then had that there would be secured work by Eskom.
Yeah, you have nothing to show for that. What I have to show is a labor court judgment that says there was no conflict and I have not interfered. That's what I have.
So at no point were you privy to information about any work that Impulse International was going to have, and even their record. Apparently they're even accused of substandard work, which you said that is not a problem as long as they are assured monies and a contract.
I'm saying there is no such a thing, and I will meet you tomorrow. I'll meet you day after tomorrow. This information will never be backed up by evidence.
Are you aware that ABB secured 46 contracts worth 1.8 billion rand within your tenure as well?
I am not aware, but I will not be surprised. ABB is being in Eskom for the last 40 years. ABB is one of the OEMs of our equipment, so I will not be surprised. All that I'm putting it to you is that I had nothing to do with it.
But why would they lie? Why would somebody go to the Hawks and even in the midst of investigations against them overseas, implicate you and say, we have evidence? And apparently they've submitted this evidence.
But we've never seen the evidence.
No, but I'm asking, let's be fair to one another, Mr. Koko. Why would somebody do that? Say, I've got evidence that's been given to the Hawks. And this is, we showed you that interview from the State Capture Commission earlier on. What is wrong here? Why are people coming up with non-existent evidence to say that you are complicit in corruption, in money laundering, in racketeering?
Let's look at factual information. Let's not go all over the show. ABB is in a dispute with its partner Impulse. They are currently in an arbitration. You don't go to arbitration unless you have a dispute that is defined. The dispute that is defined between Impulse and ABB is that Impulse says we've done work, you've not paid us.
Okay.
That's what you are having there is an information that comes out of the dispute, the arbitration process. I don't know, and I don't care what's happening between Impulse and ABB, but whatever is happening there, ABB must never use my name.
Did you ever have any conversations with your stepdaughter about businesses with ABB? Were you at any point in time in a room or privy to conversations around the contracts that they won and conversations about your ability to secure work for the company?
No, I have not. My daughters, and the three of them, are professionals in their own right, suitably qualified. They run their own businesses, and I make sure that they work independently and I don't interfere in their business. Only when they ask me for advice, I then step in. Otherwise, I grew them up as independent people, and I'm glad they're independent, and I'm glad they're able to stand on their feet.
Let's focus on, you wrote an article recently and talking about how companies were using Eskom as a cash cow. You even spoke about certain mines, and Tegeta and its contract has also come under the spotlight.
Yes.
Let's go through that. So your rationale of where Eskom is at the moment, and that to do with coal, because you denied that you were at any point allowing for inferior coal to be used at Eskom plants.
That's correct. So I wrote an opinion piece, and I said in that opinion piece, Eskom has been taken for a ride through the cost plus contracting. I hear there's a fashionable narrative that's coming out that suggests that cost plus contracts have worked for Eskom. If you look at the Eskom archives, they are littered with records that suggest that cost plus contracts have not worked for Eskom. It is for that reason, historically, that cost plus contracts have been replaced with long-term fixed plus contracts. What is lacking here is a corporate memory. It's very sad that a 95-year-old organization seriously lacks such a corporate memory, because Eskom records speaks for itself about how the cost plus contracts have not worked for Eskom. The price of coal, and let me finish this one, the price of coal in the last 10 years have increased year on year by minimum 17%, cumulatively by 400%. It is those increases that are killing Eskom today.
Was to get a contract not one such cost plus contract, which also has come under the glare of the media and various inquiries, your alleged role in it, the preferential treatment that is alleged that you gave them in the pre-purchasing of a coal, and a prepayment made to them?
I have not seen evidence on the table that supports that. I will vouch today for the prepayment. It's the right thing to do. And you know what you need to do to see that it was the right thing to do. I've just told you that the year-on-year increases in the tons of coal purchased by Eskom have increased by a minimum of 17%. Only in 2016, 2017, 2018 has Eskom seen below inflation prices. Now,
was Tegeta such a cost plus?
Let me say this.
Allow me to ask that.
It was not.
Okay.
It was not. I just did
on
not
what
want
basis?
to correct. It was not a cost plus contract. It was a fixed plus contract. It's a different arrangement. But let me say this. In the 95-year history of Eskom, only in the last 3 years, 2016, 2017, 2018, has Eskom seen a below inflation increases. Now, if the narrative of a state capture is anything to go by, the state capture by its definition should increase the coal prices by more than historical prices of 17%. Why do you think it has gone, Eskom has effectively saved money in 3 years? Something's not tying up, but the dots are not connecting, and we should not connect the dots, we should connect the evidence.
The former Exxaro CEO, Mxolisi Mgoja, disagrees with you on whether or not Tegeta was a cost-plus contractor, and he does say the prepayment and preferential treatment that was given it was irregular, even with the approval from the board. But let's talk about Eskom's current load shedding.
I want to comment on that because I think we're misunderstanding him. I listened to him very, very well. He suggests, Mkojo, that the prepayments are not a normal in Eskom business. Now, that's a lie. I refer you, and those of you who are watching and listening, go to the Eskom yearbook, go to note 18 of the Eskom financial results. You will find that the opening balance for the financial year 2018 for payments in advance was 3.8 billion rands.
And you can go back to the article. He does talk about it in those terms. But I want to talk about the current stage that we're at with Eskom, the load shedding. And I heard you during an earlier interview saying that we are at crisis levels. What do you believe is the reason for that, and why do you think that under you Eskom did so much better?
So I left Eskom in July 2017. The measure of plant reliability, which is called energy availability factor, in July 2017 was the best in the last 10 years, 85%. We were riding the wave. We had stopped load shedding. If you look at the graph, the gradient of the energy availability factor was exponential. we were riding the wave, we stopped load shedding, we had surplus. Then I left in 2018, it collapsed. I just think, and I've said it many times, that I don't think we have a strong technical leadership at the top. That's what Eskom needs to do.
But when you were there, it was a strong technical
leadership. We had
leadership.
competent people at the top.
Including yourself.
We ran that machine.
But why do you think you are under such attack, though? I still have to ask you this. Is there political conspiracy against you? Is it professional jealousy? What is it? Why are you being pursued? Why do you believe that your character is being besmirched?
I make a submission everywhere. You remember I left Eskom because the cabinet of South Africa took a decision to fire me. It's a cabinet decision that fired me. It's a political decision that fired me. So we're dealing with political issues. It is the cabinet led by Cyril at the time and Melusi Gigaba at the time that took a decision before they went to Davos to say Mr. Koko must be fired. I refused to resign. Eventually I'll end up in the labor court. We're dealing with political issues here. And the political issues are driven by and large by the independent power producers. That's all what we're dealing with here.
Namely who? Whose interest would be served by you being fired?
The independent power producers have got a strawberry. You know, I am accused of being a coal man and of a nuclear man and of being biased against IPPs. IPPs are bankrupting Eskom. It's a shock. It's shocking for me that the board of Eskom, knowing that they've been bankrupted by IPPs, they just carry on.
Okay. I need to ask a final question. Why are you speaking now? And I know, as you mentioned, you wrote the article last week. You've been commenting on social media, but why are you doing these interviews now? Are you trying to clear your name because of these allegations that are coming up against you? Were you aware that there's going to be a further continued attack on you?
I have never kept quiet. People who keep quiet are the guilty ones. I have a brave face. I put my face. I've done nothing wrong. I will not keep quiet. I will tell my story. No hunter will tell my story. No hunter will tell my story.
And you don't have a name for who's hunting you?
It is the cabinet of South Africa led by Cyril that demanded I leave Eskom.
All right, and I think that's a good note to leave it on. Former Eskom CEO Matshela Koko, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to take a quick break.